Were the olden days truly better than they are today? Well, today we're looking at 53 years of difference in Ford F-Series, because every time I post a video, you guys comment, they don't build them like that anymore. Should they? Or are we better off that we left it behind? In order to answer that question, let's look at where we've come from. This is the 1969 Ford F250 Bumpside. And this particular one, the Explorer package, is actually quite well optioned. It's got 2 extra dials, a 360 big block V8 with a cruise-o-matic automatic transmission, power steering and power brakes. It's a nice truck, and it was from the time that Ford was saying, our new trucks drive more like cars.
Works like a truck, rides like a car, twin I-beam front suspension, 2 front axles instead of 1, works like a truck, rides like a car.
And honestly, that's not a terrible claim to make. If I compare driving a new truck to a new car, and I compare the 68 Firebird I drove to driving this 69 Ford, I'd say it's a pretty similar comparison. Driving this truck is that quintessential classic American experience. Huge steering wheel with a million turns lock to lock, a lumpy pushrod V8 that feels like it doesn't rev at all but has so much torque. Fed through twin fresh mufflers. Everything about it is kind of an experience that is not really like anything you can get today. And just like today, trucks were getting more capable. This thing could tow more than ever before, and it could haul more than ever before. This particular truck is an F250 camper special with heavy-duty front and rear springs, meaning it had even greater payload capacity than any truck that came before it. So if this is what everyone thinks that we left behind, it's worth checking out what we've got ahead of us.
This lifestyle ain't meant for you, it's meant for me. What it do? This my boo, she from the south. We running man just like the running mouth. I got the juice, but they still claim it's a drought.
It has massaging seats, full recovery. Oh.
This lifestyle ain't meant for you, it's meant for me.
The 2022 Ford F350. Lariat with massaging seats and a 6.7 power stroke. And while the Lariat isn't as important to our comparison, it probably is a really good example of what people say when they say modern trucks are too complicated. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 31, 42, 43, 44, 57, 58, 59, 65, 66, 67, 68, 73, 74, 75, 76, 81, 82, 83 buttons I can see immediately. I have 10 forward gears. Like, I'm in 10th right now, I'll floor it. I'm in 7th. I just jumped how many gears the other truck has. It is insane how much things are in here if I think about it from a mechanical standpoint. I don't know how to fix a massaging seat. I don't know how to fix a screen or an automatic climate temperature sensor. How does that work? I don't know. And even if I think about what's underlying this truck, not the options, but the things that just like make the truck move. ABS, stability control, sensors. This thing is telling me it's low on coolant. I don't think my 69 even has a fuel light. This has so many different things that it's just kind of aware of. At any given point in time, I understand that there's a lot to look at as a problem. Outside of the features of the trucks, there's just something about the way they were designed and styled that feels different because of the times they came from. To give you an idea of the time period that led up to this truck, the year this came out, we landed on the moon. This was America's high point.
That's one small step for man.
And while it was still a utility-based nation with huge steel mills working hard all across the country and especially in the Rust Belt, you were having luxuries brought to your life, which is why the new 69 had a padded dashboard, air conditioning, automatic transmission, and you just had a feeling that this was designed by people who wanted it to look special. It was kind of the final celebration of real, true American styling before the Malaise era made it a little more muted. 15 years before this truck came out, the iPhone came out, which meant that leading up to this was the screen revolution, so the biggest story when it came out was Musk buying Twitter. And that shows on the inside. As the world moved towards electronics, so did our trucks. This is a huge center screen that connects to your phone the moment you turn it on. You could damn near watch a movie on this thing. These are all things that went ahead as we put more screens into our lives. I mean, there's more technology in this door panel in terms of electronics than the whole 69. And that technological design versus the emotional design of the 69 also follows through in some of its ergonomics. First off, I look like a T-Rex with my arms here, reaching the steering column that will both impale me in a crash, and it's too close. I also look like I'm about to jump, because that's how bent my legs have to be. If I was 5'0", I'd be very comfortable. Moving forward 53 years, from the work trucks to the top trim trucks, every single one of them is more comfortable. They're more ergonomically designed, and you can actually do long road trips, whereas that, you're uncomfortable after about getting in.
And just like I said with the 69 being the most capable truck up till that point, well, so's the 2022.
While I am sitting here in so much more comfort than I am in my old truck, I have to remember statistics. This truck, whether it's gas powered or diesel powered, I think is rated to tow 20-something thousand pounds, almost 4 times its own weight. Whereas the Ford, no matter what engine you got, I think could at best be just about double itself. Which means pound per pound as a tool, the modern one is more useful. The modern one is more fuel efficient. So even if I take luxuries out of the equation, it's a better tool than the old one. But life isn't about stats. That truck just doesn't have that thing that makes this one this. The character, the excitement, the style. When you walk away from this one, you get a different feeling than when you walk away from that one. And for that kind of adds a value that the price physically doesn't have. And speaking of price, this truck, I'm pretty sure, for what I paid for it, I could buy 12 of them for what Brent paid for the blue one.
1,000 foot-pounds of torque is lovely, but it's not 12 times what my 360 makes.
And it's not like this truck is unusable as a truck still. It's literally full of garbage right now because I'm going to the dump after this shoot. And tomorrow I'm going to put a quad in it. I'm going to go to the hills and go quadding. It still works perfectly fine. I just wouldn't justify this as a business vehicle. I wouldn't trust it. Do you want to know why people my age who drive cars that are new don't know how to check their oil? Because they've never had to. Modern cars as a whole are more reliable. They go farther between breakdowns, and you don't have to do the day-to-day tinkering that you do on a classic. When Brent, who owns the Ford, fired up his truck this morning to do this shoot, he drove it here. I packed every single spare fluid this truck can take. I packed my toolbox, and in my thing here, I packed a ratchet set, a tow rope, and 2 more fluids.
I didn't end up needing it, and the truck performed flawlessly, but I just didn't feel like I could leave the house without it because, as a 56-year-old truck, it just has regular problems.
But before you say I'm missing the point, I do recognize that the argument for the older truck is that it's going to be around longer because it's simpler. With less things to go wrong, it's easier to keep on the road, and that's why at 56, it's still here. The entirety of this truck has 3 electric motors: wiper motor, blower motor, and starter motor. That's it. The 22, on the other hand, has at least 17 motors in 1 seat. They all work for now, but in that regard, this truck might be a good indicator of this one's future. 2 of the 3 motors work quite well. 1 kind of works. And I can't imagine if 1/3 of the electric motors this truck had didn't work, I'd enjoy using it quite as much. And look, I get it. Saying cars are getting more complicated and cars are getting more expensive is groundbreaking journalism. I'm the first person to have ever noticed. But driving them back to back, seeing what 53 years of difference has given us, whoa, is it staggering the difference.
And it's this experience of driving them back to back that gave me 2 different conclusions. The 69 was built right at the height of the muscle car era, and right before smog. It's the crossover point of the most capable and least complicated truck you can buy. Every truck that follows the 69 adds some complications, from catalytic converters, smog pumps, up to fuel injection. But those complications also brought with it higher towing capability, higher payload capacities, and more comfort. Every generation of truck after the 69 is a better truck.
This truck yearns to be modified a little. I think if you put an LS or a 302 Ford, like a modern 5-liter, or you put an EFI sniper system on this engine, even a new carburetor if you're against fuel injection, could make this so much nicer with a gear vendor's overdrive so it actually cruises at 60 without wailing at you and getting 8 miles per gallon. A different seat and a frame-mounted fuel tank would make this much nicer, because then you wouldn't always smell like fuel when you get to your destinations. These are improvements that would make this truck exponentially nicer to live with, without really taking away from the charm of what it is. When I tell my friends who are car fans they can borrow my truck when they need one, and I tell them how to start it, I'll see them in a U-Haul the next day. They don't want to touch it. In the interest of these not fading into obscurity and scaring off modern day enthusiasts, little upgrades like that seem like a pretty good choice.
The 22 is the model of where we've gotten, more comfortable, capable, and complicated. But with 6.7s being almost 15 years old at this point and still one of the most reliable trucks you can buy, it's likely you'll see 15, 20, 25 years before their complications really become an issue. And if Chevy is still somehow charging $60,000 for the Chevy Express van that came out 30 years ago, I don't see a cheap and simple truck coming out anytime soon.
I like this truck. And if I made more money, I'd probably have one of these trucks. It's not a standpoint of it's too complicated, it's just that it's not in my budget right now. Between this truck and the 69, there's a middle ground of if you want a usable tool that is the most efficient for your dollar, the early 2000s seems to be that melting pot. With the 6-liter Power Stroke once it's bulletproof with a reliable transmission behind it, with the 6.6 Duramax in the classic body style or the 3rd gen Cummins. Those trucks have seen a huge market share increase in both aftermarket parts and just their resale value because they have a balance that I think sits between very old and a little too new. Now, I didn't make this video just to make fun of my 69 Ford. It's mine, I love it. But at the end of the day, and in today's reality, you could spend what you spent on this buying an early 2000s truck and a Bluetooth head unit, and you'd have most of the capabilities of this, a far better truck than this, and you wouldn't have to deal with its idiosyncrasies.
And I also didn't make this video with the intention of making fun of Brent's truck. It's one of the most comfortable, capable, and powerful vehicles I have driven all year.
Maybe that's the beauty of today. I'm not stuck buying one of these, and I'm not stuck buying one of those. You can buy any of them, you can buy a combo, or you can buy none of them. Because I got the freedom of choice.